Hey everyone. So today I'm gonna show you how to make paper flowers to create a bouquet to have in your house, to put on your table and for the whole family to enjoy. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how this is done. Now, just as I always say, there is more than one way to do things. So if you don't like the way that I do this and you know another way, you're more than welcome to try your way, okay? All right, so I know that some of you are struggling with finding materials around the house to use. So I just want to remind you that you don't have to have fancy paper to do a lot of assignments. This paper right here is just cardboard from Kodiak Cakes, which is like a pancake mix. And so I just took this out of the recycling and cut it, and that's what I used for this part of my flower, okay? Then for this part of my flower, I took an old book and I ripped out pages and cut them up for my flower, okay? And then this is just a piece of scrap paper that I painted with watercolor. So you don't have to have fancy paper to do this, okay? And I'm also gonna, if you don't have pipe cleaners at home, I'm gonna give you some other ideas for what you could use besides pipe cleaners if you don't have any, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, when I did mine, I actually just kind of eyed how I wanted to do the flower, but if you feel more comfortable drawing it first, you can draw your flower. Now, it doesn't have to be a realistic flower. You're just making petals, okay? And then you're gonna cut out the entire flower, okay? So I just drew my flower design. Now I'm gonna flip it over, and I've got this nice blank side, and that's where I'm gonna draw, okay? But now I'm just gonna cut my flower out. Okay, so this is not the side that I want to show for my flower, but if you want to show the advertisement side, that's fine, okay? I'm going to use this side for my flower, and then I'm going to also use an old book page, okay? And so I'm going to go ahead, draw another flower on here. Again, you don't have to do this exactly like me, and you can experiment with different ways to do it too. Okay, so now I've got my other flower, and I can put them together however I want. I'm gonna actually put this underneath that, okay? But I actually want just a little bit of color added to mine too. So I am gonna cut out some more to go with my other two flower pieces. So now I've got all my pieces ready to assemble my flower, okay? I've also seen people take the petals of their flower and curl them. I've seen them wrap them around pencils and kind of curl them up. If you want to make it more three-dimensional that way, more power to you, okay? Now, for me, I'm gonna add just a little bit more detail to my flower. Okay. All right, and now maybe I'll use some oil pastel. You can use whatever you have at home. Believe it or not, actually one of my favorite things to draw with is a Bic pen, which, you know, are really cheap. So you don't have to have fancy art materials to make artwork at home. Okay, so now I'm to this point, and at this point, there's a couple different tools you can use to poke holes through your flower. I'm gonna use a paper clip, and I just bent it. And these pieces are gonna be really easy to stick through because it's really thin paper. And be careful when you do this, you don't wanna poke yourself, okay? And if you need to, you can get a parent to help you. So I just poked through this. Now this one's gonna be a little bit harder because it is the cardboard. So I'm gonna do the best I can. Oh, and popped it through. Okay. And now I'm gonna use my pipe cleaner to push through the hole. Okay, so now using my pipe cleaner, pushing through the first layer, I'm gonna push through the second layer, and now push through the third layer, okay? Another option for something you can do, again, you don't have to do it, but I have seen people take buttons and slip through the pipe cleaner through the button, and also use a button for the middle of their flower, okay? That's a personal preference, okay? And then you can kind of spin the petals to get them where you want them, okay? And now at this point, I don't want my petals to slip down my pipe cleaner, so now I'm actually just gonna kind of twist the pipe cleaner so there's like a little knot below it, okay? And now I've got my flower, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I have for a bouquet so far. And I was thinking with Thanksgiving coming up, this might add some color to your Thanksgiving tables at home. Okay, hi. So I'm gonna flip my camera around. Oh, if I can. It's not letting me. I guess not. Okay, so here is my bouquet of flowers. And now I've got a really fun paper bouquet that will never deteriorate because it's not like real flowers, okay? All right, so if you don't have pipe cleaners at home, here are some other options of things that I experimented with, okay? So you could also use an old pencil that you don't really care about to poke through the middle of your flower. And then you could also use an old pen, a straw, a chopstick, anything that's long that can stick through your paper to make a stem, okay? I also thought that if I couldn't find anything, I could even just use a strip of cardboard for the stem of my flower, which I'm going to experiment with next. And I'll let you guys know how that works out for me, okay? All right, happy art making.